Okay, so I've always been one of those people. Let's try and see the bright side of things. So we're stuck at home, and sometimes that's frustrating and overwhelming. But there are also some good things about it. Like we get the opportunity maybe to spend a little bit more time catching up on things that we would have liked to have done if we weren't in school 8 hours a day every day. So for me, that means I'm trying to pick up the ukulele and the guitar, and I'm reading a little bit more. I'm watching some of the shows I've wanted to catch up on. I'm also super busy, so I'm trying to fit all that in around that. But for you, that might mean picking up the book you've been wanting to pick up for a long time. One of those books that I'm sure you've heard about, but you might not have had a chance to read yet, is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. Now, The Hate You Give is an amazing book. It is also a book that is often on the banned book list. And the reason that it's on the banned book list, some of the reasons that are given is language, although I would say that most young adult literature has at least some foul language. But primarily it's the political nature of the book, the issue that it deals with, because the story follows Star. Now, Star grew up in a black neighborhood, but specifically a very rough black neighborhood with a lot of gang activity. And she goes to a predominantly white, affluent private school. And Star does something that's really common for people, and that is code switching. So she has to talk differently when she's at school than she would at home so that the people at school don't consider her ghetto. And she has to talk differently when she's at home than she would at school so that the people at home don't make fun of her for being too white. And she's frustrated with that. But her world kind of comes to a head when, after a party one day, a friend of hers is driving her home and they get pulled over and he's asked to get out of the vehicle. And when the police officer goes back to his vehicle, her friend reaches in the car for a brush and is shot because the police officer thinks that he's reaching for a gun. And Star is left with the trauma of watching her friend killed. She's left with the anger of another young dead black boy and a police officer who is being celebrated as a hero when he murdered someone. A lot of people take issue with that viewpoint. But I will say that Angie Thomas does a good job of representing the other side as well, because Star's uncle, who is also black, is a police officer. And she has to ask him questions about what would you have done as a police officer in this situation. And so I think it does look at both sides of the issue. But ultimately it deals with, is it right that people should have to code switch? Or should we just accept people and not judge them as they are? Should we be more concerned about the amount of violence done on the African American community? And mostly, should we have a voice? Star has to find her voice in all of this and how to stand up for her friend who can't stand up for himself. I really hope you'll pick up this book. I think that you'll love it. And then after you're done reading it, I really encourage you to watch the movie as well.